Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30 p.m. I will call the Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 meeting of the Superior Common Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councillor Ledeen.
Here.
Councillor Van Sickle. Councillor Bender.
Here.
Councillor Sweeney.
Here.
Councillor Fennessy.
Here.
Councillor Elm.
Here.
Councillor Ludwig.
Here.
Councillor Sutherland.
Here.
Councillor Kern.
Here.
And Councillor Dahlbeck.
Present.
Thank you. Is there anybody else present? Nobody else should be present on the call?
No.
I know the fire chief is present. Is anybody else present on the line?
Aaron
I am
Abramson,
present.
the collection. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Aaron, say your name again, please. Aaron?
Aaron Abramson, the collection systems engineering and operations manager.
Thank you. And who else was on the line?
A citizen from the 6th.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay. Who
A
was this?
citizen from the 6th District.
Okay. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from the April 21st, 2020 regular meeting.
The motion is by Councillor Bender, the second by Councillor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 5.1 is a public hearing to request comments on the community development needs and fair housing choice.
If there is no objection, I will open the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak in the public hearing? Would anybody like to speak in the public hearing? Would anybody like to speak to the community development needs and fair housing choice? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to.
No actions required.
Right. Then I will simply close the public hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Item 5.2 is a resolution by the Community Development Division to amend and approve the 2020 action plan, authorizing staff to submit plan to the UW Department and Urban Development.
This is also a public hearing, Councillor, so without objection, I will open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak in the public hearing? Does anybody wish to speak in the public hearing? Would anybody like to speak to the 2020 action plan from it's actually the U.S. Department of Urban and U.S. Department and Urban Development? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing and approve the resolution.
Move.
The motion is by Councillor Bender, second by Councillor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 6 is a consent agenda. Item 6.3, I believe Planning Director Cirque has a brief statement, and then 6.4, Finance Director puts that you do have tonight before you COVID-19 financial impact analysis.
So, councillors, how we'll do is I'll ask each of these department heads to simply present the report they have for you. These items will be considered separate from the balance of the consent agenda, so all you'll have to do, you may ask any questions you like of the department heads. At the conclusion of each one's presentation and the questions, we will simply move to receive and file the report. Director Cirque.
Thank you, Mayor, councilors. Just wanted to give you a kind of an additional update to what was in your packet. I think we've added, I think in our packet we've had 35 applicants, a little over $40,000. To date, as of 4:30 today, we've distributed from the development fund $66,474. That equates to about 53 applicants. In addition to that, remember we had the license fees, the liquor license, kind of a credit. There's been a few of those that have been taken advantage of, and that's a total of $5,310. Kind of an update on who we've primarily, I guess just give you a snapshot of who we've had. Salons are a big applicant, just because they are deemed non-essential and more or less closed. We've had a handful of bars and restaurants that are essential, but and are kind of taking a hit on. Some of the bars are not essential, but just kind of a mix there that are essential, but have taken a hit and maybe aren't providing curbside or are just shut down. We've had a couple of retail places that are selling, that are more or less selling clothes online, curbside, the like. So it's been a good mix of folks that we've been funding. Some, and kind of generally that we've run into that maybe we need to take a second look at. And I know Mayor's maybe going to ask you for some things. We've had a few folks that work in salons that rent chairs that didn't quite meet the mark. We didn't quite allow for that, so we are not funding those. Maybe that's something we consider. Also goes with tattoo shops where there's a shop owner potentially, but they also rent chairs. So we're trying to work through some of that. There's folks that are working out of their homes that are not eligible because this is a brick and mortar storefront. So we've got some folks that are like providing counseling services, or we've got contractors, independent contractors. So those are the folks that are kind of in the in between, but more or less don't meet the kind of the smell test of the grant application. So again, thank you very much. I think this has been a really good success. We've done some very good here. Hopefully this will kind of get out that we've got a little bit of money left, and I will take any questions if you've got them.
Questions or discussion? Counselor Sweeney.
I'm going to have to go back one step. Were there any applicants that were eliminated or for any reasons that didn't pass, other than the two you just referred to, assuming some of those?
Yes, we did eliminate some that were some maybe essential restaurants that were actually the revenues were not comparatively looking at them at other revenues of other essential restaurants or things of that nature. So we did do some comparisons there. So there were some that were that, but Jack, most of them were either essential or just didn't meet the smell test on being bricks and mortar, or didn't quite fit into the grant program with the salons or rentals, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? Counselor Fennessy.
In the presentation, you said 53 applicants, but then in the document it says 35. Did I just hear you wrong?
Actually, this is an update. So the 35 was from last Thursday, Counselor Fennessy. This
Okay.
is from 4:30 today. So.
Okay, and then so out of the 35 that were approved, how many off the cuff total applications do you think we received?
I can count them right here. 65.
Okay.
We funded 53.
Yep. Thanks.
Yep.
Counselor Ledeen.
Are you seeing demand that would exceed the amount that we have set aside for this right now?
It slowed down the last couple of days, Counselor Ledeen. I think once this either airs or, we start to get the word out that there's money available, I have a feeling that we're going to come up to that $80,000 fairly quickly.
Counselor Sweeney.
So I'll dub this the second round, okay? Is there a time when you're going to evaluate the second round then? Or are you doing it now, or are you?
I think Mayor and I had a conversation a couple of days ago. I think what we would like to do is kind of let this ride out and then potentially bring you, kind of see how it goes, and bring you another proposal at the next council meeting. Mayor, is that kind of what we had talked a little bit about?
Yeah, it was a strange position to be in. I expected to go through this money very quickly, and had we gone through it in the first couple of days, I almost certainly would have recommended increased money. Then I expected a number of people to be denied due to constraints on the program. Then I would have expected to propose either more money or just an expansion of the existing money. in a lot of ways, neither of those happened. It did trickle off, and while there were some denials, it wasn't a lot of them. So I think we could benefit. We could serve more people with more money and with an expansion of the program. But realistically, the reason you don't have a proposal in front of you right now, Counselor, is it just felt like we needed to see more. We hadn't exhausted the money by today. And so we thought, let's exhaust it and then evaluate it.
So my question of that is self-serving to a degree, okay? My area, I would, there are a couple that and they may have chose not to apply, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple others that I've learned about. And so I haven't contacted them, and I think that's my responsibility, at least I take it on myself to do. And so they haven't done it, and they will know in a day or two. But I'm saying if you were going to evaluate them today or tomorrow and the money could be gone, then it's pointless for me to go out and, so I'm looking for a date. And I think I heard that you're going to hold off for a while. Is that the?
Well, the program basically expires when the money expires. We can't
Right,
really-
no.
Yeah.
But you have money left over and you have more applicants now, right?
I do not have any in the hopper right now.
Oh, you don't
We do
have
not
any
We do not have any in the hopper right now.
Oh.
No, sir.
Okay.
Sorry if I misconstrued that. We do not.
Okay. Well, then then we're starting at ground level, and that's fine. I don't have a problem. Okay, thank you.
Mayor Payne?
Counselor Sutherland.
You, Jason kind of hinted towards it, and we're thinking of helping others that we mentioned hairstylists and tattoo artists specifically in this. That rent chairs, is that something that you said you were leaning towards helping out in another batch of grants?
I would say potentially considering it, yeah. There were some people that were denied for that reason outright. We did find a way to help some of them, but we expect there are more people out there that could use that help. So if we were going to propose an expansion of the program in scope, that is what I was referring to, yes.
Okay, I just want to, if we go down that route, could be a slippery slope, and I hope when we get that we spend some time before making a decision on that.
Counselor Kern.
Yeah, I'd like to just thank the planning department. Obviously, I know 63 applicants coming in, and temper's probably high and low based off of trying to get grants from here and there. I know it was a daunting task for you guys to go through all these, but great job so far. And I think that we helped out a lot of people.
Thanks, Councilor Kern.
Counselor Elm.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome job so far. Has anyone who applied had any difficulty with the form, and maybe has that impeded the applicants or maybe the marketing and awareness of it? I mean, all of us are aware of it. Everyone we've reached out to is aware of it, but it's hard to know that unknown, but what have we done in terms of marketing to reach everybody? Because it seems like this should have been gone right away in my mind.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Councilor Elm. We've put it out pretty much everywhere. We've allowed for a lot of paper documents to come in. We of course prefer emails, but we have a Dropbox that we've kind of tried to accommodate some folks that don't maybe have a scanning capability and that sort of thing. I guess again we'll burst it out again tomorrow, see what we can do. We haven't had any complaints or suggestions about the form. It's pretty simple. Allison has been doing an excellent job of, if there are things that need to be completed and put back, sometimes reaching out to them via email or a phone call just to get their information. Maybe they forgot their revenues from 2019. Those are the types of things that we are, really looking for, particularly if they're, eligible in that group that is in need of the funding. So certainly, but we'll continue to push it. Hopefully that you folks do as well. Continue to push it, get it out to your districts. We'll do our best to do that for sure.
Counselor Bender.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure. So the total's a little under $50,000 right now, correct?
It's a little over 66,000.
Oh, okay.
So we have about $15,000.
I must be missing a page.
Okay.
Okay. So what did you say, it's 60?
We are at $66,000 right now.
Okay,
So we have about 16 grand left.
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Counselor Elm, I actually can't see your light. If it's convenient, would you be able to just move it over? Thanks. Further questions or discussion? Counselor Sweeney?
One last question. Did I understand that if one applies for this grant, they are not eligible for the other part, for the remodeling aspect of it?
Correct.
So if anyone has an idea of, I assume that will go on, is that a yearly, or is that,
From the date it's dispersed, yes.
okay,
Yep.
we're talking annually, both of them?
Yes.
So if I was company X, I got $1,500 for whatever.
Yep.
In 2000, next year, I could apply for the remodeling grant,
Yep,
assuming
so-
it's active. And okay.
So if you got money on May 15th, Jack,
I'm sorry?
if you got money on May 15th,
Oh, year?
You would be eligible on May 16th of 2021.
Oh, okay,
to
goes
apply.
a year they receive it, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Counselor Vincent?
Thanks. I don't claim to know everything about renting a chair in a salon, but if the owner had waived the rental fees for who was renting it, could the owner then have claimed those losses in this grant?
Yes,
Okay.
we asked those questions.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I do hope that this administration will come back to the council and remove the brick and mortar piece in order to help a broader scope of business owners in Superior. Thanks.
Counselor Ledeen?
Mayor, if I could, if it's possible here, hearing all of this and hearing from some of my constituents who are a part of that, hair salons, tattoo artists, things of that, a motion to refer discussion of expansion of the relief program to the next council meeting, if that's possible.
Motion is to refer discussion of an expansion of this program to the next council meeting. I presume to work out the details before the next meeting. Thank you. There's a motion to refer this discussion to continue at the next council meeting. Is there a second to that motion? The second is by Counselor Sweeney. By the way, that motion is inclusive of an expansion of the program. Is there a discussion on the motion to refer? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll still need a motion to receive and file this report. Motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Elm. Discussion on the motion to receive and file. Counselor Kern?
Director Sarek, sorry that you just had down. I just one clarification. So in the initial proposal, we had talked about $80,000 from Economic Development Fund and up to $70,000 from licensing fees, correct?
Yes.
So currently right now, we're at about $5,310 from licensing fees, with the remainder coming from the economic development.
Correct.
So therefore, if we do an expansion of the program, we would still have funds on both of those? Is that what we're looking at the possibility of?
Well, we don't know the scope of the expansion. We could expand it really any way we wanted to, but I wouldn't presume what we were going to do quite yet.
But that's correct of how we got to the original proposal where it was, and then where we're at right now. So that $15,000 is not a true number, because we could still have people come in for the license and fees aspect plus the additional revenue, correct?
Yes, that is true. People
Absolutely.
can continue to apply for those. Discussion on the motion to receive and file. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Councilors, I'd now like to invite Director Putz up to discuss specifically the financial impacts that we know of today from the COVID-19 crisis. Obviously, you're seeing a number of very dire circumstances in some other municipalities in our immediate area, and if you're paying attention, those are repeated pretty much in every city, county, and state across the country right now. And so thought it important for you to understand the impacts that we are facing in real numbers. Director Putz.
Thank you, Mary Payne. And I do have copies of the summary in case anybody needs one. I'll just set them right here. And so before I get really into the details of this summary, I kind of want to make a couple points clear. You know, first of all, this whole summary, it's not my projection of the impact to the city. This is really a list of affected budget items, and the values that are included are really more to provide context at this point than anything else. And we don't really have enough data to provide any true meaningful projections of where all of this will land. But it's all worth discussing at this point. And as time goes on, I think we'll have more information and more data, and this summary will become more complex. It'll have more information, it'll have more accurate numbers, and it'll become something that we can start making decisions off of. But for now, I'll kind of jump into it here. So first of all, you'll notice that there's a fund column. And while those numbers might not mean a lot to you, I can kind of give you a little bit background of what those funds are. But from just a quick snapshot, you can see that there's a lot of different funds listed, and that just shows that these effects are spread out among a bunch of different funds, which is good since there isn't a concentration of affected areas all in one budget. And so I'll start at the top here and we can kind of go down. So the first one, the rent from the marina, this is one that we still expect to see this $125,000. Eric, when he's reached out to us, he's going to appear at the next finance committee meeting, but it sounds like he wants to possibly turn this rent payment into a note of some sort. And so while we still might receive the money, it's very possible that we might not receive it in 2020. Moving down the list, the liaison officer payment. We have liaison officers that are typically at the school district and then at the Superior Housing Authority, and we send invoices for that time on a monthly basis. So that 21,000 figure you see there is a monthly amount, and so we're coming into that second month where now that amount is about to double. When the next one, the funds listed 601, 602, 606, that's our wastewater, stormwater, and landfill budgets. And $100,000 is really the kind of total amount that's on the line. $100,000 is the amount of late fee revenue that those three funds received in 2019 combined. And while we're waiving the fees for the rest of 2020, it's hard to say truly what that revenue is that we're missing out on. But it is spread out among those three funds. I think $100,000 is kind of the high side of that amount, and they're all healthy and they should be able to withstand that hit. Moving down to the liquor license fees, $70,000 is the budgeted revenue for 2020, and as I think Director Stirk mentioned just a bit ago, and maybe it was Councilor Kern who brought it up, but so far we haven't even hit close to the $70,000 in actual waiving of those fees. And so while that's kind of a broad amount that potentially is up for grabs, we haven't hit a number even close to that quite yet. Moving down again to the Barker's Island project, the $225,000 again, this is revenue that we still expect to receive, but it likely won't be all in 2020, and it could be spread out. I think this is a payment that is still in negotiations, and we don't quite know what that payment plan will look like. I know when I talked to Director Sirk about it, he mentioned it might be maybe over a 10-year period. So how that relates to our CIP budget, you'll see the 400 fund listed next to it. Because that fund is on a five-year basis, if we stretch those payments out over a 10-year period, essentially half of that revenue is dropping off of the budget. And so we would likely want to adjust our expenses accordingly to make sure that we're still matching our revenues to expenses. Moving down to golf course, that is the 605 fund. I didn't include a number in this one quite yet. It's really hard to say how much revenue we'll lose or how much additional expenses we would have. The combination of we have new management, there's very specific rules about how the golf course can operate right now. They don't have the beverage and the food service right now. The pro shop can't be open. There's special rules about how the golf carts are issued, and so we really don't know quite what that impact will be. They started operations here at the end of April. We haven't quite seen that financial information yet, so it's hard to say what that looks like. And I think once we're able to see the month of May, we'll have a much better idea of what kind of impact we'll be seeing. But the budget itself for the golf course was supposed to break even, and just to kind of give a little context, it was going to be about 1.4 million in revenues and 1.4 million in expenses. And again, I'm not quite sure what the actual effect is going to be quite yet there. Moving down to hotel motel tax. This is a budget that, again, it's a different fund, the 821 fund. Each year, there's about $140,000 in revenue that the city gets to spend. A lot of the hotel motel tax that we collect is remitted to other agencies inside the city. The vast majority of it is. And 140 is what the city receives. We have received a few payments so far for the first quarter. We don't quite have all that information yet. We need to look at it, and then we'll have kind of an idea of where the first quarter stands. And then moving into the second quarter here, is typically a busier time for hotel motel. And of course, we won't really know what the impact is to this budget again until tourism starts picking up again. And so that will largely be dependent on how long the stay-at-home order is in place. So moving down to expenses, the $170,000 total is the expenses that have been coded to our internal project code. And the big, kind of the big ticket item in there, the regular hours of 142,000, those are really expenses that we would have expected to incur anyways, but people have coded their time to it. So when I'm working on COVID stuff, when HR is, when people are at home sick and they need to code their time to COVID, that's capturing all of that. So in a way, that's kind of a way to think about the sunk costs of our employees' times related to COVID. But it's not an actual out-of-pocket additional expense that the city has incurred. We're tracking it just in case the opportunity comes up that it's an amount that we can get reimbursed in some way. And the actual true expenses that we have seen are the $9,600 for computers and computer software, largely to let people work from home. And then the almost $19,000 is kind of the miscellaneous supplies. It's stuff for cleaning, the safety equipment, masks, additional supplies needed to handle all the absentee ballots. And again, so in total, additional true expenses out of pocket have been about 30 grand. And so I guess if there's any questions, I'd be happy to do my best to answer.
Just one minor point I wanted to make regarding the liquor license fees. In the report you just saw, keep in mind many of the maximum grant amounts were awarded to businesses that pay these fees. And so we now know that we won't be losing the whole $70,000, because if you're looking at that report and a bar, for example, gets received a $1,500 cash grant, well, that's a business that's going to have to pay these fees. Okay, questions or discussion? Thank you. Councilor Fennessy.
Yeah, Director Putz. So is it safe to say that this isn't as alarming as it looks?
Yeah, obviously the big number down at the bottom, 700,000, sounds like a big number. And largely most of these, say, losses in revenue, the additional expenses, the 30,000 has happened, but those losses in revenues, for the most part, have not happened yet. They're just kind of amounts that we're aware of that potentially will be affected. And in most cases, I don't think we're talking about the full dollar amount.
Right, because I guess, is there a reason why we look at it this way instead of looking at it where, this is all we're losing? Like, when you go from like the top down Sailboats Inc., mm-hmm. we're showing that we're going to lose 125,000, but actually we're not losing that. It's just going to be spread out over 5 years. That same train of thought is almost on all of these line items where it says that it's a loss, but it's actually not. So is the purpose of this to, just in case there's money available, we can say, hey, look at us, we lost $750,000, or I guess what's the purpose of looking at it like this instead of the real actual loss?
Right. So I guess, as far as, I can try to add a column maybe for next time for, actual loss, but I think that column would largely be empty at this point because for the most part, we don't know what those actual costs are. When we're talking about the rent of the marina or that Oliver project, we don't actually know what those payment plans are yet. So I can throw a number on here, but it's not, it might not be meaningful either. So I guess this was the numbers I had available, and so it's what I've put in so far. And I think this document will certainly be changing, updating, and it'll become something that'll be more meaningful. The bottom numbers will actually mean something.
Okay, so maybe it was just me that was looking at it wrong. The first column there, that's just kind of the stuff for us to keep an eye on. That, yeah, something might change in these line items, but maybe not. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I think for the most part, it's a list of areas that I'm aware of that are affected, and to try to help provide a little bit of context, to provide a value of, here's what this number normally is, or here is, just to help give a ballpark of how much money we're talking about.
Okay, no, I got that. And then just two questions on this. So the liaison officer, that 21,000. So are we not, because that's for the school district and the Superior Housing Authority, are we not getting reimbursed from either one right now?
Right, we don't have liaison officers physically there, but those officers are working right now. Yep. So it's, yeah.
But we're not getting reimbursed from the Superior Housing Authority either?
No, nope, because we don't have an officer there.
Why? What's changed about? I understand the school. Yeah, that the schools are shut. There's no reason to have a liaison officer. But the housing authority.
I guess I can't speak to the specific reason. Maybe
bring the police chief
maybe
up
Chief can
yeah.
chime in.
So in response to the COVID pandemic, like many other law enforcement agencies, we had to reallocate our resources to allow for an alternative schedule that would build in isolation time, allow us to be able to accommodate for officers getting sick and have the necessary manpower. To accommodate that, we transitioned people from positions like the Superior Housing Authority and investigations, so we moved them into patrol divisions. So there is no officer reporting to the SHA daily. Just like in the schools, we would have probably done the same even had the schools stayed open, but because they were closed, the officer is no longer present.
Okay, nope, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Chief. And then the other question I had, the one last question I had is on the supplies, 18,950. Is this some supplies that we would have normally purchased? And okay, so these are all $18,000 in extra supplies just for sanitation and whatever.
Right, and so I suppose it's possible that some of the cleaning supplies potentially would have been purchased anyway, but certainly, I think the masks that are being purchased and sure. All the extra absentee ballot stuff that had to be purchased, are purchases that happened because of COVID-19.
Okay, no, Director Putz, thanks for the overview of this. It makes a lot more sense. It brings it into a lot prettier picture than what it looks just standing here. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
I just want to add Councilor Fennessy, to your question, why present just this one big number when it's clearly spread across multiple funds? Yes, when we look at the many individual policy decisions that we will either just absorb these effects or look to meet them, those are much more detailed policy decisions. We'll leave to the Finance Committee and the Council at a later date for individual choices. But the fact is, I'm seeing the public begin to discuss the financial impacts to cities. Very specifically, when I see Duluth reporting a $38 million hole, I think it's important that we be transparent to the council and to the public what we're facing. Now, you're right, $700,000 is not $38 million, and comparatively, that can feel like very good news. But there are going to be some complex decisions to be made, and more than anything, I want to leave this council with a sense that we don't know the full picture. This is as many unknowns as it is true projections right now.
Sorry, if I could just ask one more question. So do you think we're at a point now, I mean, we at least have a rough draft of this. Do you think we're at a point where we need to just pump the brakes on some of our spending, some of our projects, anything like that? Or do you still have a high enough level of comfort that we can just maintain business as usual and we don't really have to, yeah, although we'll have that in the back of our mind, it doesn't need to be something that needs to weigh like all of our future spending.
Right. So, I mean, I think the discussion certainly needs to be started, areas that we potentially could save money. I don't think we're in a dire situation like maybe, some of our neighbors where they need to do something right now because the effects are so big. And largely, like I mentioned, many of these changes haven't quite happened yet, or we don't quite know what their full effect is. But with a couple more months of time, I think we will have a better idea of what our personal effects are. And I imagine any year the goal is to maintain a balanced budget. And so to the extent we can reduce any expenses or find a new source of revenue or reimbursement from, say FEMA or something, we would want to pursue that in order to avoid a deficit if possible.
Okay.
So I think it's something we'll revisit and continue to talk about as we know more.
Sure. Yep. And I guess, Mayor, the only thing that I would ask is that once we do get to the point where we have a little more substance to this, maybe even just have like a committee of the whole, just to just talk about that and like how we might have to modify any of our future spending, whether that's out of the CIP or whatever. I think it'd be good once we have a better handle of what we're legitimately going to lose versus what's going to be spread out over 5 years, fixed in year 5, or whatever options we have. But I think it'd be good to have a committee of the whole meeting once we have a better picture.
I agree that would be prudent, particularly if there were large policy decisions to be made. Now, let's recognize it could potentially maybe go the other direction. Things could be rosy, and then I would be happy to just submit a report for you to receive and file. But in the event we need to be making a change to the existing general fund, or like you said, a significant change to the existing 2020 CIP, then yes, absolutely, that should require a deliberative action. Councilor Allen.
Yeah, Director Putz, thanks for putting this together. This clearly shows the lost revenue and expenses, kind of worst case scenario what we have at the moment with the best information that we have. But we also, do we not have, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there like some revenue that we would be receiving, or aid or grants, I should say, from a higher level of government? Isn't that number is not on here, so this number is actually not as bad as it looks if you were to apply that amount. Is that correct?
Potentially, and we don't have a lot of grants that we've had the ability to apply for. I'm aware of one related to the fire department. That one would be a little bit smaller. I have a call on Monday with the county. My understanding is that the U.S. government is giving money to the states, and then hopefully the cities and counties will apply for this money through the state. I don't have any specific details on how that will work yet. I'm paying close attention to it, and of course, if the ability comes up, we'll make sure it's something we apply for. But we're just not quite sure what will be reimbursable and what that looks like yet, or how much we could get.
Perfect. But you're actively looking through that, so I appreciate that. Thanks.
I can also say we've been down this path before. As in any disaster, there's the potential for state or federal money. That seems likely through FEMA and some other agencies, including through the CARES Act. We are starting to see the individual state agencies make recommendations on how that money should be spent on a local level. I've been in touch with the Secretary of Administration and the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. The fact is, it's probably a yes that there will be some money. Every other question is, I don't know. And so, don't know when, don't know how much, don't know what for.
Director Putz.
Councilor Sutherland.
So is it fair, Mayor Bain, Director Putz, the vibe I'm getting is that no one's worried right now about our financial future with our general fund, or anything else moving forward? Seems like it's pretty lax. Is that the vibe I'm getting, or maybe I'm not in the room, I'm not seeing it? But
I'll let Director Putt speak for herself. That is not the vibe I have. I would not say that I am not worried, nor would I say that I am lax. The overwhelming, the best I can describe this is we are in a time of uncertainty. We don't know all of the answers, and we know that everybody is experiencing some very significant impacts in almost every other municipality. It is true that the City of Superior's fiscal condition is very strong. We're a very stable city, and I think we can be grateful for that, and that can give us more confidence than many of our neighbors. That said, it's not business as usual. We will be discussing this again at the committee and council level. There will be policy decisions to be made, and I don't think all of those will be pleasant. I think if you're feeling like breathing a sigh of relief, that might be okay here on May 5th, but I don't think that we should relax too much.
thank you.
Further questions or discussion? Seeing none, thank you, Director Putz. I'll entertain a motion to receive and file. The motion is by Councilor Kern, second by Councilor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. The balance of the consent agenda. Motion is by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Esther. Item 7.1 is Finance Committee recommendations from the April 16th, 2020 meeting.
I'm sorry. Oh, never mind. Excuse me. Councilor Elm made the motion. Councilor Kern made the second. This is on the business of the Finance Committee. Is there discussion?
Mayor Payne, may we pull item 4 for discussion?
We'll consider item 4 separately. Councilors, would you like to consider any other items separately? Okay, then I think I do this differently at every meeting, but we'll consider the balance of the items from the Finance Committee right now, as we have a motion and a second. Absent item number 4, discussion on the balance of the items. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 4 is to accept the 5-year contract with Tyler Technologies for building permit and inspection software. We should get that on the table. Is there a motion to approve that? The motion is by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Elm. Councilor Sutherland?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've supported this particular item in IT committee, and I still support this item. But what I've expressed my concerns with other councilors and Mayor Payne about spending money right now, especially this amount. The reason I'm concerned about it is I know it's $175,000 up front, but then there's $40,000 a year for 4 more years comes out of the general fund. I'm just nervous right now. I want to see this happen. I want to see this move forward. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if right now is the right time to be pushing an item this size. That's not a public safety issue forward. I was wondering if we could maybe entertain the option of like coming back 3 months later when we know what kind of numbers we're at with our finances. That's what I would ask of this council, is we could table this item for 3 more months.
Councilors, your motion to table for 3 months?
Yes, and then bring back in discussion when we have more of an idea of what we're at with losses and what we can do with the CIP in our general fund.
The motion is to table for 3 months.
I will second that.
The motion is by Councilor Sutherland, the second by Councilor Sweeney, to table this item for 3 months. I'll presume that to be the first regular council meeting after 3 months have expired. Is there discussion on the motion table?
Director Jenigo, I don't know if you'd be the person to speak on this. How would this impact operations?
Director Jenigo?
Councilor, it wouldn't change operations as they are today. It's where we would be going forward. We've got some other things planned as far as the partial position that it would take the GIS technician position. So there's some things that were going to be happening anyway. But as far as the business as usual, it's not going to change. We've got a system in place right now. For now, don't know how long that's going to last, but that we can continue to use the current system that we have.
Thanks.
Mayor Payne?
Just a moment, Councilor Ludwig.
Director Janigo, could you speak to the cost-benefit analysis that was put forth? Was this to the Finance Committee?
That went to the Finance Committee. I don't have that in front of me. But what it was showing is it's not a direct cash that we were going to receive $140,000, $170,000 in the first year and $40,000 every year after that. We should show our savings and efficiency and be able to process more permits, those types of things, but not a direct cash.
Mm-hmm. So this $229,775, was this a yearly benefit inefficiencies, or was this over the 5 years?
I think that was over the 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Sweeney.
Council Sutherland, would you be willing to amend that, to take a look at that within the next city council meeting? And then if nothing changes, go on to the next time rather than make it a blanket 3 months, 90 days?
Actually, Councilor, how we handle that, you may make that amendment.
I'm sorry?
You may make that amendment. You may amend this amendment. You can. Is that your intent?
I will make that motion.
The motion is, who made the second? Okay, the motion is to amend the amendment from 3 months' time to the next council meeting. That motion is by Councilor Sweeney with the second by Councilor Elm. The motion then is to amend the amendment. Is there discussion on this motion to amend?
Yes, yes, and I'm not going to get all confusing here, Mayor Payne. So what would you want when we come back to the next city council meeting to bring this up? Are we just going to look at the numbers that Director Putz brought to us and see if they're growing more? Is that what we're
Actually,
doing?
Councilor, let me just take care of this business. Right now, we are deciding whether we should wait 2 weeks or 3 months. That's the question before us. I know this is a little confusing, but that's what we're discussing right now, whether it is okay to do this in 2 weeks rather than 3 months. Does that make sense? I'll come back to you to discuss what we will actually do when it comes back.
You just tell me when I can talk.
For sure. Councilor Fennessy.
Is that motion even needed procedurally? Because
Yes.
at any time, one of us could pull it from the table, correct?
Potentially, but absent that, it would stay on the table. And what Councilor Sweeney's motion accomplishes is that this will automatically come back in 2 weeks. We will automatically consider it without that motion. It would be very difficult to bring it back. I mean, you could force that, but Councilor Sweeney's motion will require it with no other intervention to automatically come back in 2 weeks. So it's in order. I'm not
absolutely. I just didn't know if it was needed.
I don't see it necessarily as superfluous.
Okay.
It does accomplish something, yes.
Okay, because I mean, I have no problem either way. I actually don't mind the idea of waiting until we have a better idea of what the impact is going to be, whether that's next meeting, 3 months. I just didn't know if we had to make that, if any one of us could pull it from the table, but it makes no difference to me.
Further discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, this motion is to amend the amendment from 3 months to 2 weeks to the next council meeting. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries. The motion is now to amend to table, the motion is to table until the next city council meeting. Councilor Sutherland?
Thank you. When Councilor Sweeney, can I ask Councilor Sweeney a question? Is that okay, Mayor Payne?
Could you just ask the question? We'll see if he needs to answer it.
Yep. Yeah. What will we have to bring up? What would we like to see at the next city council meeting? Then would it be the same numbers from Director Putz to see where we're at with what kind of hit we're taking on our budget? Is that what the goal is here?
I think
that was my
ultimately,
intention.
ultimately that'll be a question for individual councilors, whatever they would like to see. I would leave it to councilors to contact department heads or myself for any information they're looking for before the next meeting. And I would trust that if councilors are not satisfied with the information that they have, that they would continue to table, or just vote no.
Thank you.
The motion then is to table until the next council meeting. Councilor Kern?
We've vetted this thing out for a long time. I think we're going on almost 10 years, correct, Janico? And we have complete deficiencies in the current program, which I've experienced in myself and also speaking to many other contractors and the other spinoff that we have. I understand that we have a fiscal responsibility in the current pandemic that we're in to make sure that we're being protective with our resources and making sure that we're not overspending with the unknowns that are out there. But by tabling this, whether it's 2 weeks or 3 months, we're just prolonging the efficiencies and things that we have. This item has already been budgeted, it's already been approved, and I believe that we can dig deeper into other things that we might find that aren't as important for the 2020 year to be able to do. So I fully support sending this through tonight. If it takes 2 more weeks, I'll still support it then, but I don't feel the need to overrush things that we've already planned for, especially over the last 10 years. We'll look at a lot of businesses in the city that were shut down through this time, and they've actually used it to improve their businesses and do things with the capital that they did have while staying responsible while they're doing it. So I think this is a great asset to the city, and I know that we're in uncharted territory, but I'd still like to move forward with this.
I concur with Councilor Kern.
Thank you, Councilor Dalbeck. Councilor Ludwig?
I agree with Councilor Kern also. Our inspection department has waited 10 years for this software, and the RW, the consultant, said that this should be the department's #1 priority. It's been well vetted with the city staff. It's been well vetted through the CIT committee, through the finance committee. We've got a cost-benefit analysis here, the efficiencies that'll create in the inspection department, as well as efficiencies for our residents. I think that this would be a really good choice for us to move forward on purchasing the software. Even though I know, I appreciate Councilor Sutherland's hesitancy in regard to, the COVID-19 and situation, but I think it's time for us to move forward with this purchase.
Councilor Van Sickle.
Thank you. Just wanted to agree with Councilor Kern, and I also appreciate waiting. I'm happy to discuss it in 2 weeks also, but Councilor Kern brings up a good point, and a lot of people have been trying to take care of projects and clean up their houses and their shops and whatnot, and I'd like to see us take a step to make it a little easier for contracts to do business with us. Thanks.
Councilor Sutherland.
Just Mayor Payne and councilors, for the record, I do support this 110%. I truly do, and I just don't know if my opinion is I just don't know if right now is the time to move forward on this, because it's gonna have an asterisk by it because it's a pandemic. However, if this passes, I support that as well, if that makes any sense. I'm just being conservative with the budget, not knowing the true trickle-down effect of what we are doing here and what this pandemic will do to our budget and our CIP. And, I support this. I don't support the timing, if that makes any sense. Thank you.
Councilor Sweeney.
I have no disagreement with most of their comments stating that the benefits of the project, there's no question about that in my mind. I voted for it. I just think in 2 weeks there'll be a lot more clarity with what's going on. The state of Wisconsin is supposed to make a decision roughly within 2 weeks. So I think 2 weeks is prudent to wait 2 weeks and to see what happens. I think these next 2 weeks will be far more important than some more following 2 weeks. So that's why I suggested that. Thank you.
The motion is to table until the next regular city council meeting. I see no further discussion. Sensing division, I will proceed by roll call.
Start this time with Councilor Van Sickle.
The motion is to table. Yes moves this item to the next council meeting. No brings us back to the motion to approve.
Counselor Bender.
If you vote yes, you are asking that this be considered in 2 weeks' time. If you vote no, you are asking that we consider this tonight.
Now I understand it. I'm voting no.
Counselor Sweeney.
Yes.
Counselor Fennessy.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Counselor Sweeney, how did you vote? What, you voted yes?
Yes.
I heard you and I wrote no, I'm sorry.
No.
Uh-oh.
Counselor Elm. Counselor Ludwig. No. Counselor Sutherland.
So a vote yes is to table it for to the next meeting, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Kern.
Yes.
Counselor Dahlbeck.
Yes.
Counselor Ledeen.
Yes.
That vote passes.
The motion is tabled until the next meeting. Thank you, Counselors.
Okay, item 7.2 is the Human Resources Committee from their April 20th, 2020 meeting. I believe Director Konechny sent out the minutes from this meeting this afternoon. They weren't included in the packet.
Second.
Motion is by Counselor Ludwig, second by Counselor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing, Counselor Fennessy?
In the meeting minutes, there was the item on the reclassification of the Parks and Rec, or not the reclassification, the update on the job description. But I see that didn't make it to the minutes, or not the minutes, but the agenda today.
Yeah, that's historically those that we have not sent those to council for approval. I asked the attorney to look into that, and those should be approved by council. That will come at the next meeting.
So it will be coming at the next meeting? Okay, thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 3.5 is the Plan Commission recommendations from the April 15th meeting.
The motion is by Counselor Kern, second by Counselor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those, I'm sorry, Counselor
Can
Fennessy.
the minutes reflect that I'll be abstaining due to item number 1?
Minutes will reflect Counselor Fennessy's abstention. The motion is for the balance for the entirety of the Plan Commission. Is there further discussion? Counselor Kern?
I just want to say it's a nice sign to be able to see that there are still some businesses that are applying for the other half of the small business grant program. So it does show a lot of faith in our community that even though we're in the middle of all this right now, people are still investing into our community. So it's nice to see.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.1, I am submitting a recommendation for approval of miscellaneous licenses.
So moved.
Motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 2, Collection System Engineering and Operations Manager Abramson is recommending approval to purchase a new Trimble S7 robotic total station from Frontier Precision for a total cost of $39,171.30.
So moved.
The motion is by Counselor Elm, second by Counselor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Planning Director Sirk on 8.3 is recommending approval of a small business grant application for New Horizons Children's Center of Superior LLC totaling $9,807.
So moved.
The motion is by Counselor Elm. The second is by Counselor Dahlbeck. Counselor Fennessy.
Again, I'll be abstaining from this
we
one.
will reflect Counselor Fennessy's abstention.
Smarty.
Discussion. Counselors Dahlbeck or Sutherland, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 8.4, Director Sirk is recommending approval of a small business grant application for Earth Rider Brewery LLC totaling $24,406.
So moved.
Motion is by Counselor Kern, the second by Counselor Fennessy. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Police Chief Alexander is recommending approval to enter into a 5-year agreement with Passport, Inc. for the parking citation processing services.
The motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Elm. Is there discussion? Counselor Sweeney.
Chief, do you have any idea with this new company, just roughly the amount of money that should be saved, assuming the same amount of volume?
I think that's difficult for me to say. The contract analyst, Jane, is here, and she can probably come up and speak to it. The percentages are slightly lower. What the current vendor is charging is 30% on collections, where this one's 28.75. There are some variations in terms of when postage is applied and so on. I think the final analysis was that in the end, this should either be roughly the same or a small savings to the city in terms of they'll be collecting less out of the collection, so we receive as much or more as before. At the same time, we've been very unhappy with our current provider, and the level of service that the new company has proposed seems much better in terms of not only efficiency for the police department in the issuing of the citations, but for the community members that receive one and have to pay it.
Counselor Sutherland. Counselor Sutherland, had you wanted to speak?
Oh, yeah, sorry, my mute button. My computer is acting up right now. What is the upfront cost of this program? Is there anyone that could shoot that number at me?
My understanding, there's no upfront cost, Counselor. Basically, we issue citations. The citations have a value. The company processes it, collects the payment from the customer, and then returns a portion of that fine to the city. We're not paying any money up front. In fact, they're providing us with equipment that would probably cost us in the area of $15,000 to purchase from our existing vendor for free.
Oh, thank you very much.
Counselor Kern.
Yeah, I can't remember if this went through finance that we had the debate or if it went through public works, but I want to obviously send one of those committees that it went through, but I want to thank that committee for kind of sticking with our guns and saying to go out and get contracts, because from what it sounds like, we got the better end of the deal and not just taking the free printer or whatever they're offering from the other company. So good work on everybody involved with it.
Further discussion?
Campaigning.
Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 9.1, the mayor is recommending approval to reappoint Bill Fennessy to the Superior Housing Authority Board of Commissions.
The motion is by Counselor Elm, the second by Counselor Bender. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you, councilors. And before we proceed, I just want to remind councilors, many of you know this already, it is Municipal Clerks Week in state of Wisconsin, or nationwide, but certainly state of Wisconsin and the city of Superior. Unlike the rest of the state of Wisconsin, we are in an election right now, which will proceed next week. So if you get a chance, please thank our city clerk and her staff, as well as the people that have been helping in this very non-traditional election season. So thank you.
Thank you. Item 10.1, Council President Ludwig and Vice President Elm are recommending approval of the council committee appointments.
Motion to approve.
The motion is by Councilor Sutherland, the second by Councilor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries. Councilor Bender.
I have other business by Councilor, and I think I've got my microphone on now. You know, there's a lot of misinformation about Cinco de Mayo, which is today, and it's not Mexican Independence Day. That's the 16th of September. This is to commemorate the Battle of Puebla, which is a large city known for mole poblano in Mexico. And anyway, in 1862, on the 5th of May, an inferior Mexican force did win the battle against the French Empire's forces. But I guess we would say they won the battle and lost the war. And that is what happened. Okay, then 4 days later, on May 9th, Mexican President Benito Juarez declared it a holiday. So it's been a holiday. It was 4 days later it was declared as an official holiday. So that's just for your edification. And one other thing that I wanted to add that has nothing to do with Cinco de Mayo, but it has to do with a big thank you. A big thank you to Councilors Fennessy and Sutherland for their gift cards. And I never got on fast enough to be able to bid on anything, which I guess is okay. But thank you for all that you've done. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sutherland.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know where to go after that one, but I just want to go on the record stating under business by councilor that I support the city or the county opening up slowly for helping small businesses open up, and maybe in the future passing a resolution to send a message to Madison that the business district does have a voice with the city, and I am one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there further business by councilors? Resolutions.
Item 11.1 is a resolution introduced by the Community Development Division to set a public hearing on May 19th at 6:30 to amend the Citizens Participation Plan.
Motion approved.
Motion is by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
11.2 is a resolution introduced by the Community Development Division to set a public hearing May 19th to amend the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan.
Motion is by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 11.3 was the amended agenda. It was a resolution relating to the creation of a safe vote program for the fall of 2020.
The motion is by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Elm. Discussion.
Mayor Payne,
Councilor Sutherland.
can someone, because we just got this, can someone explain this to me, what this resolution, and by going forward, is there a cost analysis of what this will cost the city by doing this?
There will be a cost, Counselor. We can't come to the exact cost exactly. Clerk Long can maybe give us some round numbers. If I would direct your attention to the final paragraph in this resolution, where it directs the clerk's office to establish a sustainable and cost-effective safe vote program under which all registered voters in the city of Superior would receive information regarding an absentee ballot for the fall 2020 election. That means that the cost will ultimately, the goal, of course, is to deliver that information. The method of delivery will remain an administrative decision by the administration, the clerk's office specifically. So if we were to do as several other cities in Wisconsin have done and actually mail the application to every registered voter that is not already signed up to receive an absentee ballot, that could cost a few $1,000s, but do you have an actual number?
No, I don't. I talked with Twin Ports Mailing, that they're the ones that do our utility billings, and until we really develop a plan as to how we're going to bring this forward, they can't give us a quote yet. So, one idea, many municipalities, not many, a few, have sent an application to all of their registered voters. There's other ways to reach our voters and voter outreach too. I think it's just something that we need a little bit more time to sit down and go through, and then we can get that actual cost.
And what I would say also, the Wisconsin Election Commission has outright recommended that they will receive a portion of the CARES money that was allocated to states. And among their recommendations for that money is specifically to help with postage and purchase of materials for a program like this, so we could mail information to voters. It's a specific request they have. So I would expect that regardless of this program or not, we're going to get money for mailers to registered voters. Further discussion? Councilor Fennis.
So if I understand this right, because the wording on the first paragraph is pretty ambiguous, where it says that, so what we're going to mail is information regarding obtaining an absentee ballot. But you just said that we would be mailing the application for a ballot. Are we talking information on how to do it, or are we mailing the application to receive one? Because that's two significantly different things.
No, I'm saying we could do up to that. So this would only bind us to say to the council that we have fulfilled the directive of this resolution and provided information up to that. I believe it is fully within the clerk's office to do powers to do that anyways, to send that application out anyway with the budget that they have, particularly if they're getting grant funding for that. But that would be the most expansive form of the program, which I should say I outright support. It will be my intent and goal to send an absentee ballot application to every registered voter in the city.
So,
I just want to interrupt you. In speaking with the mayor about this, there's other ways now to receive an absentee ballot. We don't need a form in writing our actual application mailed to us. Now they can go on My Vote and they can request it on there and upload their ID. They can send us an email and send us their ID. So when we look at how we're going to establish this program, it's giving them all of the options, not just one option.
And I'm sorry, I misspoke. Obviously, we would not be sending this to every registered voter because thousands of them have already requested it. And so we would not be wanting to double up on that. We would want to reach those people as best we can, as affordably as we can. So the first step is, of course, public outreach campaigns to get people to sign up for this online and or to come in and do it themselves. Those that we aren't reaching, we want to cast a total net. So there will be some that we don't reach by those methods. Those are the ones we're targeting, and we've got a couple weeks to do that.
So this is for this is for November?
November, yes.
Okay. So I guess the part that I'm confused at is we're asked today to approve a resolution that doesn't have a plan, doesn't have a cost, doesn't have any substance to it. It's we might do this, we might do that. It might cost $1,000. It might cost whatever. We might get money from the state. Are we a little premature with this?
No, I don't think so. There's a great deal of work that will begin happening fairly quickly for the November election, particularly when it comes to voter outreach. This is something we need to get. If people are going to participate by mail in the November election, we have a closing window to reach those people. That closes every day. Now, I don't believe that this has no substance. This resolution does direct us to create a program because we do have the option to do nothing at all. This would be, and again, I'm telling you, I don't intend to do nothing. I want to expand our voter outreach as much as we possibly can. I want to be a leader in the state of Wisconsin in making sure that every single citizen that is eligible to vote in the city is participates and does so as safely as possible. This resolution is the council saying that as well, which we've done a number of times. We've had the council, and I'm trying to think of a relevant example where I think Indigenous Peoples Day, which was just a proclamation really, but it's the council also saying you will do this even if I change my mind tomorrow, I won't be able to. I will still have to come to the council, as will the clerk, and report on what our efforts were to reach every registered voter in the city.
But this establishes, I mean, it says here that we're going to establish that to get that information out, but we don't know what that looks like. We don't know if that's going to be one mailer or 10. We don't know if it's going to be $1,000 or 20. So I guess how can we be expected to approve something like this to create a program and just hope that it fits into what all 10 of us had? I would rather have some substance to this, as far as, and maybe that's the wrong word, substance, but we don't know what this looks like, so we're passing a resolution without knowing anything about it.
I can't speak to that except with what I've already said, that we would be doing what we can to reach every registered voter in the city, up to mailing everybody that we've not had contact with an absentee ballot at some point. And that cost, There is an upper limit on that cost, obviously. It would cost no more than the purchase of the envelopes, the printing of the paper, and 2 pieces of postage. Obviously, with some bulk rate, that would be less than the cost of 2 first-class stamps. So there's a limit. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's below that amount.
Mayor.
That doesn't help.
Just a moment. Councilor Fennessy, the floor is still yours. I'm answering what I can, but
Yeah.
some of what you're asking.
And I think that's probably what I'm struggling with the most here is we don't know any of the details. I mean, is this something that we could, you could put together some parameters on this or some number for next meeting?
We'll have numbers. I believe it's going to come into clear focus every day, but we also lose time.
Yeah.
I think our department would be doing this whether we had a resolution or not. We're going to do voter outreach specifically for the fall and for absentee voting. We really want to reach those people that may not know absentee voting is available to them. We've seen a large uptick in it over the last couple of years, but especially now with COVID-19, April and May have been crazy. So more and more people are finding out about it, and once they do it, they really like it. But there's still people that want to go to the polls on election day. I don't know when I'm going to have a plan. We have an election in a week, and then we'll be wrapping up. We're still wrapping up April, and then we'll be wrapping up May. We can't get the data out of our system until 60 days before the election, before November, to see who's already receiving an absentee ballot and who's not. So I think working with the administration, there's just a lot of things that we need to bring together, and that we can bring that back to you. I just don't have the answers right now.
Councilor
I
Dahlbeck.
think we should go forward with it. I think it's a great motivation for people who are able to get out and people who would rather vote by absentee ballot. And I think they would more so than going to the polls. I think great idea, and I'm for it. Thank you.
Councilor Van Sickle.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Councilor Dahlbeck. I just want to provide a little bit of context. So, like Clerk Kalan mentioned, we had an election in February, we had an election in April, we have an election in May, and while November feels like it's an eternity from now, for example, the August ballots, and then we have an election in August. So for the August ballots, those must be in the mail by June 26th, and the November ballots must be in the mail by September 19th. So as Mayor Payne mentioned, we've been processing absentee ballots in a pretty robust manner since January. And we've done 8,000 so far. And in the city of Superior, we have a total of 14,000 registered voters. So we've made a pretty significant dent in that already. And when we look at bulk rates, we can guess right now something to the tune of 30 cents per piece. So we could look at a mailing to anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 people, around 3,000, or with a return envelope around 6,000, which you'll recall for some context is what we awarded the Douglas County Historical Society 2 weeks ago. So while substantial, it doesn't give a wild parameter of unknowns. We would be looking at around 6,000 for the higher end of it. And just with some clarity, this resolution effectively authorizes the clerks to create this program. So we knew coming into today that we weren't going to have every nook and cranny and every possibility ironed out. Except that we know that there's a capability, a willingness, and enthusiasm within the clerks to reduce in-person voting and to get our absentee numbers up. So first, I really wanted to thank the clerk's office. This has been a titanic effort, and for sharing their expertise and brain power to work out the details of this resolution. This is a result of some of my authoring, plenty of Terry's, and I've spent significant amount of time on the phone with various people in Milwaukee who passed something similar. And I think that many of us can agree that there's something uniquely proud about casting a ballot on Election Day. And we can likely attest also to casting an absentee ballot this election cycle, along again with 8,000 other absentee ballots that were processed this spring. But the fact is, there are a lot of activities that we don't do in person anymore, and this pandemic has catapulted our processes into territory in which we have only been tiptoeing the last few years, as we have made efforts to expand early voting and things like that. And I think that in addition to the actions we've already taken to address the coronavirus, the pandemic warrants continued action and offers an opportunity to maximize our operations and examine our efficiency in administering elections over the long term. And this legislation strives to assure the security for the safety of our community, the sanctity of our elections, and stability of our healthcare facilities capacity. And I think that it's difficult to name a more important charge of local governments than protecting and promoting equal access to the ballot and taking the necessary steps to oversee the highest standard of public health with the best and most accurate information available. Voting by absentee used to be only considered an option for overseas military members or some other extraordinary circumstance. But we have experienced a substantial shift in absentee voting or early voting as it's been largely normalized. The coronavirus is still unpredictable, and we have the opportunity now to take some action. This is a largely one-time upfront investment in our citizenry and lines up well with our clerk's internal goal to increase voter turnout as efficiently as possible with cost considerations and now public health. This initiative betters our city as a whole. We know that voting by mail is safe, it's secure, and it's efficient. And while there might have been a little less time to review this resolution as we're more accustomed to, I just ask this council to consider the proposal on its merit and potential benefit to our city. We have a lot to be proud. We have a lot to be proud of in its intent. And lastly, I'd just like to thank the counselors who helped all of us this week in crafting the details of this resolution. Thank you.
Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you. I applaud doing this. I think this is, we should be on a mission to try to increase the voting as much as we can. It should be an absolute mission. So choice of words was on purpose. I also understand that I think all of us at one time or another have looked at at least I always look at the voting numbers, and I'm dismayed sometimes at the low turnout of people. And I've thought to myself a number of times, how can we get that up? Why won't more people vote? And if this is a method to increase voting, that's what it's all about. And I agree that we should come back when you have a plan. I completely trust you to come back to be efficient and effective and for the best for the city, but also for the best of the citizenry. So I am in favor of this. Thank you.
Further discussion. Councilor Fennis.
Sorry. Thanks for the details on that, Councilor Van Sickle. So if I'm understanding Councilor Van Sickle right, at the high end we're talking $6,000.
Those are the numbers I roughly came up with too. I don't want to commit to that. When I first started looking at this, I very roughly imagined 10,000 voters, $1 per voter, and so $10,000. And in the scope, if we're looking at this as a response to the coronavirus, we really aren't sparing much larger expenses than that. But yeah, it's 6,000 sounds about right. 10,000 upper limit.
And that would be out of the city clerk's budget?
Yes.
My budget's so far in the hole.
Yes.
So your budget is so far in the hole, and we're going to add another.
Why not?
Well,
we saw 2 special elections in a
right.
pandemic.
No, right.
Yes, that's true. I mean, in all seriousness, the clerk's office budget is very much in the hole, but many of those expenses are able to be coded to COVID-19, and so there's a possibility of some reimbursement. But of course, yes, we did not budget for a special election, nor did we budget for a spring election that changed the entire landscape of absentee voting, as well as had a turnout significantly higher than we would have expected. I believe the turnout was much higher than our 2017 mayor's race. It was, to say nothing of, again, bringing in extra staff, all the extra supplies. So yes, it is. We have dramatically blown out that budget. We are coding it to COVID-19. Hope to get some of it back, but we'll see.
We've just started doing some brainstorming too on ways to mitigate that cost instead of, sending it out to every registered voter. When our utility bills go out, send out a flyer in there that reaches everyone in the household at least, and maybe they'll see that information and maybe apply for it. So when we query that information, we already have their application on file. Right. There's other ways to mitigate those costs than just the mailing.
I would just rather have us have some parameters to this instead of just approving this without any parameters at all.
Further discussion.
Mayor Payne.
Councilor Sutherland.
One more thing. Did I hear it right? We were going to do this anyways without the resolution at hand. Is that what I heard?
I believe that's what Clerk Kalon said. I can tell you I would intend to do it. I feel a little bit uncomfortable taking on a brand new expense that we have not discussed nor anticipated without council approval. Now, I will say this is a crisis. I can very easily link this to COVID-19 and the state of emergency. The elections changed underneath us by no policy decision. All that was the people deciding that. So yeah, I believe we have the authority to do it. I think we should do it. I think you heard the clerk say we were probably going to do it. Personally, I think the council needs to be on board if we're going to take on a new initiative.
Thank you.
Further discussion. Councilor Fennessy, would you like a roll call? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 12.1 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department, amending the traffic code, disabled parking zones by removing 927 Clough Avenue.
Motion approved.
Motion's by Councilor Kern, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries. In just a moment, councilors, is there any business by the public? We have nobody signed up, right? I know there's somebody on the phone. Is there any business by the public? Okay. Seeing none, we have no further business and are adjourned. Thank you, councilors.
Thank you.